Speaker, I yield 6 minutes to the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Bishop.
The gentleman from Michigan is recognized for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I rise today to support my bill, H.R. 5445, the 21st Century IRS Act, a bill that will improve cybersecurity and taxpayer identity protection, as well as modernize the information technology system at the IRS. I'm grateful today for the bipartisan support. This is a very important issue. One of the most common heartbreaking issues I've had to deal with on a recurring basis since I've been elected a member of elected government is identity theft. That's why I wrote the Michigan Identity Theft Protection Act while serving in the Michigan Senate. I'm disheartened to say, however, that since coming to Congress, those stories of identity theft have only become more frequent and are often compounded by problems in dealing with the IRS, many of which center around the delays due to their outdated technology. Take, for instance, my constituent Lance. Lance filed his 2015 federal return on March of 2016. In May of that year, he was notified that his refund was being held under the could verify certain items. Over the next 8 months, Lance tried multiple times to get additional information from the IRS. Finally, in January, they told him that his case had been closed, yet he had not received his refund. Over the next 6 months, his case was reopened and went from being flagged for identity theft, then cleared, only to be flagged again. Finally, after 18 months of back and forth with the IRS, Lance received his refund of tens of thousands of dollars. While we want to be vigilant in protecting taxpayers' identities, these unnecessary delays are bad for everyone. I know I'm not alone in this chamber. Most of us, if not all, of the members of this body have had or heard a distressed story from a constituent about how they had their tax refund stolen. That's why my legislation will codify a current public-private partnership whereby the IRS engages with states and industry to find ways to reduce identity theft tax refund fraud. This will provide them with additional tools to proactively identify trends and schemes as they come about. By heading off ID theft at the beginning of the process, we can eliminate the need for the IRS to chase down fraudulently paid refunds and reduce the burden on the unfortunate taxpayers who have had their identities stolen. Mr. Speaker, another source of delay at the IRS and angst for our constituents comes from the severely outdated IT systems at the IRS. Take, for instance, another constituent of mine, Tom from Oakland County. Tom had a return audited, and the auditor mistakenly entered his income by misplacing a decimal point by 2 spaces and recorded Tom's income as being 100 times the actual amount. This resulted in the IRS telling Tom that he owed a tax bill 18 times his income for that year. After my office and the Taxpayers Advocate's Office got involved, the IRS fixed the issue, but told Tom that he might still receive collection letters until the computer system was able to update with the correct information. This uncertainty coming from the IRS is simply unacceptable. The outdated technology at the IRS is not the fault of the taxpayer. Now, to address this issue, the legislation includes an important provision that my colleague, Ms. Wolarski, has worked on for a very long time. It provides it provides much needed accountability by setting forth clear guidelines, processes, and responsibilities for the IRS officials who are responsible for maintaining and modernizing the IRS IT. It also includes a provision put forward by Mr. Renacci, which would allow businesses to file their 1099 information through a taxpayer-friendly internet portal. This will ease the compliance burdens for taxpayers and businesses and allow the IRS to get tax information in a timely manner, which will improve the quality and accuracy of the security checks. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, we live in a world of constantly emerging threats and sophisticated criminals who are probing and trying to gain access to the IRS and ultimately the taxpayers' information. The 21st Century IRS Act will help move the IRS in the right direction with meaningful and bipartisan solutions. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
Gentleman